Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next YouTube video, and this is going to be my next Avatar news update video, which focuses pretty much on Korra a lot. So I'm just going to get straight into the quick summary of events. Basically, Mike's going to attend a panel on June 26th in Barnes & Noble's at the Grove. It's going to be like a panel Q&A type thing. In terms of SDCC, there's more than one kind of panel planned over more than one day, so there's going to be a lot of stuff at SDCC. We have 5 new images of Book 2 from Latin American dubs, which have started, which is a good sign for the show. And finally, Korra did not win the Emmy for Outstanding Special Class Animated Show. That was won by Clone Wars. So I'll get into details now on each of these. I'll start with that Clone Wars one, and mainly that is that daytime Emmys happened. Obviously, Korra won the casting award, didn't win the directing award, and then we were waiting to see what it would do with the big one it was up for, which was Outstanding Special Class Animated Show. It was up against Dan vs. and Star Wars The Clone Wars, and in the end the award went to Star Wars The Clone Wars. Now personally I don't agree with it at all. I've seen all of The Clone Wars so far, and as much as that show it was on its 5th season, I just don't agree with that at all, because to me these awards have to be given on the season that's just passed, because the Emmys are every year. So it's basically comparing season 1 of Korra versus season 5 of Clone Wars. And while season 5 of Clone Wars had 2 amazing arcs, so about 6 episodes that were really, really good, I just don't agree with it that overall it was a better show than Korra. Because I thought Korra in its opening 12 episodes did an incredible amount of stuff, and it was really solid. But, it didn't win, obviously. And to some extent I think that it was a bit of a pity vote for the Clone Wars, seeing as it was cancelled. But, Dave Filoni and the crew that work on the Clone Wars did a good job. I just feel that Korra was maybe left out a bit with that. But anyway, moving on to Mike DiMartino, obviously co-creator of Avatar and Korra, is going to be attending an event at Barnes & Noble's at a place called The Grove, which is in LA. He's going to be basically doing a panel with a bunch of other kind of, I think, comic writers and TV show directors, producers, that sort of thing. The panel is going to be at 7 p.m. June 26th, and there's going to be a Q&A plus some prizes, I think, given out as well. So there's your chance to ask Mike about some Avatar Korra stuff. Definitely, if you're in LA, I'd recommend trying to get down to The Grove, Barnes & Noble's, and check that out. Maybe ask a question about Korra or something. Should be interesting. Third piece of news, SDCC 2013 coming up next month. Around, I can't remember the exact date, but it's something like between the 15th and 18th or something like that of July. But we've heard that there's definitely going to be a Korra fan panel, which will have some of the older actors and stuff like that from Avatar, but it's not going to be in terms of a really heavy news panel, that one. But Brian on Tumblr did say this, that he can't really announce anything about Comic-Con panels, but he said, and this is a quote, "We have a lot planned over more than one day." So, but that's a big thing, because the last 2 years at Comic-Con, there's basically been a Korra panel, and that's been about it. There's been a Korra panel and then a signing later on that same day or just before that, and that's about been all there is. So the fact that there's going to be a lot planned, which to me says more than one panel, over more than one day is pretty big, because we know there's going to be a general Korra panel. There has to be the thing where they probably fully announce Book 2, or Book 2 will be just announced fully before then, and they can talk a lot about Book 2, what we have to expect, that sort of thing. But I think this second panel could indeed be a screening of the first episode of Korra, Book 2. Now, this has been done at San Diego Comic-Con in the past with other shows, where if they've been ready, they've actually shown the crowd there the first episode of a show. And I think they could do it here because people have been waiting a long time, and it would make sense that that's what it is. Because, try and think of it yourself, like, okay, they do the general core panel. What could something else be? Apart from signings, something like that, it would have to be a big announcement or a big event, which to me says either Dark Horse Avatar comic panel where they announce the next series, or they show book one. Because without fail, I think this Comic Con has to show us the release date and a full 2-3 minute trailer. So that might be a tiny piece of news, but it's interesting, definitely. I think the full details of Comic Con panels go up about a week or two before the con, so we won't know the exact details of these panels until sometime in early July, I assume. So, about a week or two, maybe 3 weeks from now, we'll know what's happening at San Diego Comic Con. Either way, some good stuff happening, seemingly. Now, onto the big piece of news from the past day or two, and that is mainly that. First and foremost, actually, I'll go through this. We got 5 new images from Book 2. Now, they're not in great quality because they're from basically a dubbing session of the Latin American dub of Korra Book 2. Now, 2 of them, there's not much to them at all. It's just a picture of Korra and a picture of Korra with Mako, I believe, which you can see here. And it's nice to see them. They're probably all from episode 1. They're nice to get those images just to as you go with the Latin American Spanish voice actors. That's cool. The next one was a bit more interesting because it looks like it's maybe Tonrak or Unilac, but you can't really see because of the lighting and the bad quality. But you can see that one here. It doesn't especially matter, but either way, it's cool to see like that character, whether it be Tonrak or Unilac. It probably maybe looks more like Unilac, perhaps. Not really sure, but either way, that's cool. Fourth one is probably the most interesting of the images in that, as you can see here, it appears to be Bolin pulling a cart that has Desna and Eska in it. So Bolin has become Korra's cousin's slaves, supposedly, pulling them around town, which could make for some very interesting kind of character dynamics between Bolin and the twins. His character journey in book 2 seems to be about finding his own path. So maybe to find his own path, he began to work for that family. Unilac is obviously the chief of the northern tribe, so something like that would be pretty cool for him. Either way, it's an interesting image. Final one is just an image of Tenzin, but if you look in the corner, you can see that Boomy's in the corner. You can see the picture here. So this is a fun one. We get to see Tenzin again. It appears to be Air Temple Island. Boomy just randomly in the corner. Looks to be funny once again. But either way, that's a cool image. And as nice as it was to get those images, I think the big thing about this news is that the main news is not the images as opposed to where the images came from and what that means. These images come from the voice actors of the Latin American slash Spanish slash Portuguese dub. I'm not really sure in the exact details. Posting from a dubbing session. Now, what does that mean for us waiting for the premiere of Korra? Well, as far as I know with animation, when it comes to dubbing it in another language, that is not the language it was initially filmed in, which was obviously English because we know Janet Varney and so on are the voice actors. They have to do it over the completed animation, and because of these shots, the way we got them in that they have what appears to be completed animation, they have the timestamps on the bottom so they can get accurate times to time the translated lines with the movement of the mouth that they see on screen. To me, that says that the animation for book 2 is basically done. Now, there's not really much you can say because not much other information came out, but either way, this one episode that they're working on has to be basically done, because if there's still any amount of animation or edits to be done, they wouldn't be dubbing it this early, because any slight changes in animation, cutting out a few seconds, adding in a few seconds, even like adjusting the animation, they'd have to change it slightly for the dub. So this is a good sign for Korra coming out sooner rather than later, because um, it's going to come out sooner rather than later because it has to be done. And if we keep hearing stuff like this, that the Latin American dub is still going on, it will very much hint that all of book 2 is basically done. Because usually these dubbing processes don't start until the whole season is done, or at least half of the season is done. So, great sign. And with SDCC coming up, with all the news we've been getting of late coming up, everything I think is pointing towards Korra coming out sooner. Now, in terms of my speculation at this point in time, I'm really leaning towards maybe end of July, start of August, September or October at the very latest. But end of July, they probably need to announce it pretty much like in the next week or two. So I'd probably lean towards August, maybe, for the show coming out, because it's just one of those things, like we're at that stage where we know a decent amount about a lot of stuff, but we don't have the exact details. So either way, I think this is a very good sign, and I doubt this is going to become a crazy information thing, like we're going to get screenshots every week, but it's a good sign, as I said. I'm just going to repeat myself if I keep going on, so I'm going to end it here. Yep, that's all the news there's been. Again, if you want to hear more discussion on this news, check out the Avatar Online podcast this Sunday, where myself and some other fans will talk about it in detail. But for now, that's been myself, Morgan Airspeed Prime, side admin of Avatar The Last Airbender Online.com and Avatar Online podcast main host. Thanks for watching, and bye.